Flower Street, Purdue Extension, Jasper County, and we're going to be looking today at for Benthic Macroinvertebrates. You ask, what is a Benthic Macroinvertebrate? Benthic Macroinvertebrates are the small little animals without backbones that live in rivers and streams and ditches. So we're going to be looking at a couple ditches here in Jasper County today to kind of look at the water quality, because we can use those animals, small animals, to tell what the water quality is in our rivers and streams, by which ones of those we have in those streams and rivers, and by how much diversity we have, so how many different types of them we have. So, but we use a little chart here, and we'll first go through and figure out what we're calling it. We're going to call this the Walker ditches, and we're going to look at see what our quality is of this rivers and streams. So and then we'll go through and look at see what we've got, and we'll check off on each one of those. There's 4 different types that we could be finding. We could find the group 1, which are very intolerant to pollution, so they like clean water. The way they breathe, if it's dirty water with a lot of sediment in it, which is soil that's in the water, they can't breathe. It plugs up their gills and they can't breathe. Then we have moderate intolerant that can take some pollution, but not a lot. Then we got fairly tolerant. They can take quite a bit of pollution in the water. Then we got very tolerant. They can live in about anything, and they're the ones that can live in manure lagoons and everything else. And they even got names that you'd think might not like rat-tailed maggots and blood midge larvae. So they just sound nasty. But what we'll do is we'll go in and sample the ditches that we're going to look at, and we'll have a chart, an ID chart, to see what we've got. So we're hoping to find some stonefly nymphs and mayfly nymphs. It may be a little too early because this is just the first part of April, so it may be too early to find some of these in this water. But we're going to see what we can find today, and we might find scuds or clams, even things like that. So we're going to look through and see what we can find in the creeks and ditches today. So we're going to take a look at a few of them and across Jasper County here and see what we can find. I've got along with me Brittany Kent. She's a Purdue student, majoring in ag and biological engineering at Purdue, and which deals with some of these things we're looking at, or can deal with this type of thing. So, but we talked about in your class a few weeks ago about the Benthic Macroinvertebrates. So we actually came out to the field to do it and get kind of a live field, or a field trip for you guys. So that's instead of just a pretend one we did a few weeks ago. So if you remember, we did this sheet that we did looking at what we found, or what we're going to find in the creek. So we first did our hypothesis. We're going to first named it, we call it the Walker Ditch, because we're in Walker Township. So we're calling it the Walker Ditch. And Brittany, what do you think the hypothesis we're going to have for this ditch? Of our benthic, or our water quality in this creek or ditch?
Fair.
Fair, we're going to say fair. So we'll circle fair, and then we're going to go down and sample some down in the creek. So you want to go head down to the creek and take a sample?
Sure.
If any. Using our identification key and looking at the things we've caught here today, we can say that we've got we've got some clams, which are group 2s. We've got some scuds, which are group 2s. We've got a riffle beetle, or several riffle beetles, which are 1s. We've got a right-handed snail. We've got a leech. And we've got a left-handed snail. So we've got a wide variety of things. We have shown some diversity in our water, and we've probably got some other critters that are on here too. We've got another a water skipper and another water beetle that's not on here. So we've got a good variety of things on here. So we'll go through and look at our key and see where we're at on these. And Okay, now that we've got done with our samples, we've got the riffle beetle and a right-hand snail, a clam, a scud, a leech, and a left-handed snail. So we're going to do the math on those. So we have 2, and that'd be 8 times their cause worth 4 points. Species, the group 2, they're worth 3, so we got 2 of those plus a 3, so, or that gives us 6. And then we've got 1 of these, they're worth 2, and we've got 1 of these worth 1. So 8 plus 6 is 14, plus 2 is 16, plus 1, so that gives us 17 points. And that puts us, if we look over here, that puts us just barely in the good range. So and our hypothesis was fair, so our hypothesis was not correct. So we had just barely made the good range, but we did make it with. We did have one other beetle that we probably wasn't on this list that we probably could have got us more into that good range, but we didn't have it on our list. So.